going to go over the press release today for the shooting at Nash's on February 1st. I'm going to read it, be able to take some questions after that, but be limited to that on what I can say. But I'm going to go ahead and read the statement, okay? All right. On February 1st, 2025, at approximately 12:12 a.m., officers with the Decatur Police Department responded to Nash BBQ, located at 104 12th Avenue Northwest here in Decatur. It was in reference to a shooting outside the business in the parking lot. Upon arrival, officers located a male victim suffering from gunshot wounds. The victim, later identified as Deshaun LeBrant Lewis, 18 years old, was transported to Decatur Morgan Hospital, where he later succumbed to his injuries. Officers and detectives with the Criminal Investigation Division have been working around the clock to identify and locate the suspect. Earlier this morning, on February 5th, 2025, at approximately 9:40 a.m., the suspect turned himself in to the Decatur Police Department. Detectives charged the suspect, who is a juvenile, with murder. He will be transferred to a juvenile detention facility. Due to the age of the defendant, no identifying information can be disclosed at this time. This is a tragic situation for all involved. My condolences go out to both the families. I would, though, like to express my appreciation and my gratitude to all of our officers, our detectives, our federal partners, and to the community for their assistance in this case. As I said before, it's a juvenile, so we're not going to be able to release any other information about that at this point in time. So I'm limited on what I can answer to that. I will take a couple questions, so if anybody has any questions now, we can go from there. So,
Chief, just in the past, for people who may be unfamiliar with that area, have there been quite a few calls out that way because of violence or gun violence? And also appeared that business might have been closed when this happened, so is that something that you guys looked into as well?
So obviously with anything like that, we look into multiple avenues after, with the investigation. We have responded to several calls there in the last year, approximately 29 or so, related to many different things, but we have responded to that area.
I know you had a specific incident there Thanksgiving where a man was shot in the leg. I know, of course, we're talking about the most recent incident there, but is there any update on that investigation as well?
That's still, I'd have to double check with you. I'm not for sure, but I believe that's pending or could have been. I can't give you any more information. I don't know about that one. Right.
As it pertains to this specific incident, this took place in the parking lot of the business. Is the business a restaurant? Is it a venue, event space? I've seen mixed things. So could it have been a party after hours type thing, or?
So obviously that's part of the investigation we'll go into further. I know it is a restaurant during the day. That's some things that we'll have to look into as well later on.
You mentioned being tragic. Is there anything you can say as far as the circumstances of the shooting?
It's tragic because it's two juveniles. One was 18, but he's still a kid. At any time that you have kids that are involved in any type of gun violence, they don't know the consequences of what's going to be life-altering changes for not only themselves and their families involved. That's what's tragic about it, and that's where my condolences and heart goes out to both sides of the families. So.
Are you able to speak as to whether they were familiar with one another? Was this like an argument that led to this, or?
Yeah, that's part of the investigation, and we won't go into that at this point in time.
What's the next step in this investigation?
So it will be going through the juvenile process. They will be all going through that side, and we have to wait for them to see how that goes.
Can you speak in general just about youth gun crimes and gun violence in the city?
Yeah, I mean, I've been a detective before, been here for over 20 plus years. That's ebbed and flowed throughout my whole time. here. I can say, after speaking with some of the detectives, they have felt like there has been a pickup in the last couple of years involving juveniles, but to have those exact numbers, I can't give that to you.
Is there any possibility of more arrests being made in this case as far as maybe the owners of the restaurant or people who are involved with the restaurant?
Yeah, there's still obviously a lot of any case. There's going to be more investigation to it. There is some possible other pending cases that could be made in this case, but if there is, we would put something else out about that. I think that's all I have for now. I appreciate you guys showing up, kind of on a little short notice with this, but I'm glad to be able to bring a little closure. But once again, I'd reiterate two things. It's a tragic situation for all involved, and I'm proud of the men and women here that have worked tirelessly to bring this to a resolution. So thank you, guys.
Thank you, Chief.